right, now moving back into our topic, not back into, moving on to our new topic, frequently asked questions by home sellers. I think we sometimes forget that because we've helped people, purchase a home, we always just assume that somebody's going to know how to sell it.
It's true.
But there's a lot of questions, so this is a great topic. We are
Yeah.
going to dive into these. When is the best time to sell my house?
I think there's a couple of factors here. It kind of depends. I would say it would depend on what you're selling. For instance, if you're selling a condo, we've talked about this before. It's good to sell in the spring and the fall because students, fluctuation coming in and out of the city. But anything else, I would say it's market dependent.
Yeah, I mean, like if you have a property that is, you got a beautiful backyard, pool, landscaping, all that stuff, obviously your best bet is spring, summertime. You wouldn't, necessarily want to sell in December. But so it's all fluctuates. Like sometimes if you wait until December, there's less competition.
Exactly.
So more people are going to look at your house. The really serious buyers are out.
Yeah.
When you list in the spring, you do have a lot of competition because I'm sure you've heard it, and if you haven't heard it, the springtime is always the busiest
Yeah.
market in real estate.
Yeah.
That's when we see the most amount of listings like we're seeing right now. So definitely really depends on your situation, what your goals are of where you want to move and when you want to be there, and we'll plan your home sale around that.
Yeah.
What steps should I take to prepare my home for sale?
What would you say? I was like,
Lots of steps.
So many steps, yeah.
Number one, you want to give it a deep clean and you want to declutter. I would say that is the top thing. Anytime I've had a stager come in or a staging consultation, the number one thing is the least amount of items in the house. I mean, you really want to minimize your furniture. You want to keep your kitchen counters clear of, your air fryer and your kettle and all that sort of thing. You want it to look nice and open. And then cleanliness. Cleanliness is huge because even me personally, and I know clients that I've looked at houses before, we're more inclined to look at a house, make an offer on it, even say that the kitchen is dated, like from the 80s, but it is spotless and it's immaculate. Like some of those houses that have, like an old Nona or old Italian couples lived in for like 50 years, but you walk in and it's spotless. You're like, okay, this is nice. You know that you're walking in.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. So I'd say those are the two major things. Then obviously we can get into the topic of staging and that, but that's a whole different thing.
I find when clients or buyers, they're looking at a house and it's really messy, then they just start nitpicking everything. So you just got to start off on a good fit. But
yeah.
I've also recommended to clients just getting a temporary storage unit before, and it just helps get it all out of the house in the basement. And
yeah, because you don't want to move everything from upstairs to the basement because then the basement just looks like you're moving it around.
Yeah.
I agree. And then try to depersonalize the house as much as possible. And by that I mean take down the artwork or photos of you, your family, that sort of thing. Because the goal is when buyers come through, you want them to picture themselves in that house. You don't want them looking at the house and then looking at the family that's currently living in the house. It's just, I don't know,
For sure.
It's a bit of an awkward thing. So you want to depersonalize for sure. So those would be probably my top recommendations.
I would also say if you can do any minor changes for curb value, just clean it up. Mow the grass, cut the curbs. If you have any little paint jobs, do it. If your eaves trough is falling apart, maybe just throw a little bit into
Back
that.
up. Yeah, minor repairs. Yeah, of course. Because you're right, if somebody notices something wrong small,
It throws
then
the whole thing off. Then they start picking the house.
Exponentially. What should I disclose to potential buyers? So there are certain things that by law need to be disclosed. Some of these things include if there's been a death in the house, if there's been a murder, a suicide, that type of thing. If you have mold, if there's been leaks in the basement, if you have marijuana, that's it. Even though weed's legal, you still have to disclose if you've grown it inside the house because, if it's not, even if it is properly ventilated, I mean, it's still just a bit of a stigma, especially with insurance companies because you can get mold in the vents and that sort of thing.
Exactly.
So that's a big disclosure. Yeah, legal substances is a big one if it's ever been used as a grow op or a meth lab.
Yeah. I did a walkthrough with an inspector before, and she could tell, I couldn't tell. She could tell that there was a grow op in there, and I was like, how? And she's like, you can see like black spots in areas like mold where moisture has collected that shouldn't normally be there.
So those are huge disclosures, and asbestos as well, and the UFI, urofalmaldehyde foam insulation. Those are big things just because of the health reasons. So those are things that you must disclose. Covers that. Should I price my home higher to leave room for negotiations? I think we're getting into that market.
Yeah.
I think we are. Before it
Yeah.
was price it low
Yeah.
and negotiate upwards.
Yeah.
Now it's opposite. Now you want to price it,
I think
to have a little bit of wiggle room, because when you're on the market for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month,
Yes.
which now, we are at the average days on market of 14 days, people are coming in. And I mean, we got 30,000 off one a
There
couple
you go.
weeks ago, right?
Yeah.
With $7.99, got it for $7.70,
Yeah.
whatever, right? So definitely leave some room in there for the price that you want. You don't necessarily just want to go right to your price, because let's face it, everybody wants a deal on something if they can
Yeah.
get it, right? If it's sitting there, you're thinking, well, let's try to at least knock 5K off or something,
I
right?
think it's also the mindset of what's going on too right now. Everyone thinks I should be getting a deal on a home. So it's almost causing the stigma that I should negotiate down. So kind of start high and allow that wiggle room.
Yeah, for sure. Where are we? How long does the listing agreement last? Again, this is agent dependent. Personally, I don't like putting anybody in more than a 90-day agreement, because things change. I would not recommend signing a 6-month agreement.
I've seen a few 6 months.
Yeah,
But
some agents gonna hate me for saying
Yeah.
that. But I think, like, if you're why are you signing a 6-month agreement? There's no need to sign that. Like, it's half a year. That's
Yeah.
nuts.
yeah.
You know,
That's probably saying like I don't feel confident selling your home.
I need time. 90 days at the max, I would say. Like, when the market was crazy, I was just doing 30-day listings. But
Yeah,
now that things are
literally.
slowing down, 90 days with our average days on market getting out there,
For
we
sure.
do need a bit more time. But yeah, I'd say 90 days max.
I agree.
What happens if I'm not happy and want to cancel the contract? Again, this is agent dependent. If you call me or Brandy, we list your house and you want to cancel, we're not going to charge you anything.
No.
Like, even if I'm into my pocket for staging, photography and all that, a few $1,000s, and you want to cancel it, we'll cut it. I mean, obviously there's a reason that it's not working out. We don't ever want to work with somebody that doesn't want to work with us. We don't ever want to lock somebody into an
Yeah.
agreement.
I never want to
and
feel
we'll
like
do a
we're
contract.
forcing someone into
Yeah.
something. It's not comfortable on both
No.
ends. So
There's no point.
No.
If you don't work with us, we don't want to work with you. But
that's not true.
you got to be
Okay.
you got to be careful. Because some agents
Yeah.
will put in the contract, and you got to be cognizant of it. They will put in a cancellation fee that if you cancel, you have to pay to cancel the contract.
Yeah.
So just be careful when you're signing that paperwork.
Well, like some agents panic, right? Like staging, all that stuff going in. It can be up to a few grand.
Oh yeah,
so.
it's expensive, especially for agents that are starting out and maybe don't have enough in their business account to
It's a
float those
lot.
expenses, right? How do I respond to lowball offers? So the way people love to respond to this one, I find, is telling them to go take a hike. That's completely wrong. I
Love
would
it.
not
I
do
knew you were
that.
gonna say
Yeah, everybody's like, you're low, get out of here, right? And
Yeah.
that's a mentality that needs to
Yeah.
go away. Because
Don't be doing that in this market.
yeah, you want to keep the offer alive. So we
Yeah.
always like to keep the ball in the other person's court. If somebody brings you a low ball offer, what you need to do is instead just counter them with what you want. Even if you counter them back full price, just counter them back.
Yeah.
The offer's back in their court.
Yeah.
Here's what we want. We're not messing around. Boom. But to just say take a hike, you're essentially you're killing all hopes of the deal happening, because all you're going to do is aggravate the buyers, or give them,
For
even
sure.
though you see it as offensive that they're giving you a lowball
Yeah.
offer. You got to remember, people are always going to bring lowball offers. It's
Yeah.
going to happen. You just work with it, come back in at whatever price you're comfortable with, and go from there. But definitely, I wouldn't just walk away
Yeah,
from it.
and right now, actually, this week, as of next week, we're sitting at about double the listings to sold. So you don't know when the next offer would be rolling in. You don't want to kill that. Sorry.
Yeah, I know you keep hitting this.
Back in the mic.
These are just for show, by the way. That's why you're not hearing anything.
Just kidding. Okay.
Should I be present during showings at my home? Okay, that's two questions. So, should I be present during showings at my home?
No. I can roll that into something else, and I won't go there. But it's just not comfortable for anyone. First of all, you're obviously going to be biased to your house. That's your home. You love it, and you don't want to accidentally point out things that don't need to be pointed out. And you just also don't want to make the buyer uncomfortable. They're there trying to look for their home. let them do their thing.
It's really awkward when people are home. When we're showing houses
Yeah,
and the
really
homeowners are
awkward.
home, we're literally like, we could spend 30 minutes to 45 minutes in a house, but every time we go into a house and the sellers are
Zoom,
home,
let's
we're
go,
like
we wanna
in
be
and
outta
out
here.
because the buyers are just uncomfortable with
Yeah.
it, and they're not even comfortable talking about it. Like, we're in the house, we usually like to talk about it, but buyers get uncomfortable in that situation, so please just take the dog for a walk, go to the park, something.
Same
Just,
thing with
you know,
tenants
get out of the
too.
house, yeah.
That one's not fun.
But that's tough. That's with tenants.
Yeah.
If they're home, they're home.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Will you be holding an open house? Again, that's agent dependent. Right now, open houses are huge.
Yeah.
I know. Like we
absolutely.
do them on pretty much every listing.
Yeah.
Brandy's becoming the queen of open houses
Yeah.
over here. She loves it.
I do door crashers if you're.
Door crash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know you said on your 100th Street listing, Amber from our team did an open house, and you said you got 6 couples alone that came through. So
Yeah.
it is beneficial right now.
Yeah, because some people just are in on the weekend and maybe they want to look at homes, and it's easier for them to just go to these open houses than it
Yeah.
is to, I guess, I don't know, line up the appointment. They just feel more comfortable.
Exactly.
But it's more exposure, so there's nothing wrong with it. Absolutely, I think open houses should be happening right
Yes,
now.
for sure.
Last question, should I include appliances? Again,
Yeah, it's totally dependent on you, but if you don't need them right now, I would kind of sweeten the deal with it.
I think you should leave them. I know you just bought that expensive washer and dryer, but you should leave it.
Yeah.
Because when people are buying your house, you got to remember they're putting up that down payment, the
Yeah.
closing costs, all that. Now they got to come
Absolutely.
up with another whatever for appliances, right?
Yeah.
Unless you have some, like a Wolf or a Viking or something, like a $25,000 stove or those expensive Sub-Zero fridges, right? Even those, you got to leave those for sure.
Yeah.
But those can be negotiable points.
Yeah.
But if you're average everyday, like Samsung, Panasonic, whatever appliance, GE, just leave the appliances. They're there for the house. They fit in the spaces nicely. I would leave them. I wouldn't
think I've
take
had
them.
I would say 99% of the buyers that I've worked with have all asked me in a house, does this stay?
Does it come with appliances?
Does it come with a washer and dryer?
Yeah. And another one, window coverings is a big one to leave behind, because most window coverings, like let's say 90% of them are made for the
Custom.
house, unless you have something that your grandma knitted for you hanging over the windows. You want to take it.
Yeah.
Take it. Light fixtures is another one. Usually you want to leave all the kitchen fixtures, dining, like all the light fixtures in the
They
house
got
stay.
20 years of smoke stains
Yeah,
on them. You
that's
can
it.
take them. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Unless again you have a chandelier that was like a wedding present from a
Yeah.
cousin or something, right? Like you want to keep it. Other than that, yeah, I'd say leave all those items. But that concludes it. I hope we answered a lot of these questions that you guys are curious about. If you want to, or if you have more questions about selling a house or the process or anything about it, feel free to drop a comment below or message us directly, and we'd be super happy to answer it for you.
Taking